Om. Om. So, why do we want to work on a subtle center within us called the third eye center? Okay, first of all, you have to realize the third eye center is not here. The third eye center, which in yoga we call the Acharya Chakra or Ajna Chakra, is inside your brain. Okay, so it's a couple of inches inside. It's in line here. If you draw a line from the top coming down, then you'll be there. It's around the area between the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, that area. And also there's a hollow called the third ventricle in the brain. And that's where the third eye center is. So this third eye center has many names depending on which group you study with and what is the purpose of your doing the practice on that one center. It's called, as I say, a chakra, the Acharya Chakra. From a higher spiritual perspective, it's called the cave of Brahma, a Brahma Gufa. Okay, that's where you focus on to get your high intuition and eventually to go into the divine states of samadhi. It's also called the Shiva Netra, the eye of Lord Shiva. So the eye of Shiva, very familiar, many people heard of that. But what does it mean to have the eye of Shiva? Okay, and that's one of the reasons that we practice this series of techniques to open up our third eye faculty is this aspect of what we call the eye of Shiva, the Shiva Netra. Why do we want to open it up? It's to help us live our life without confusion, without giving in to illusions, and to get rid of all our delusions. So it's not easy to live your life because you don't know what you're doing. Every day you have to have decisions to make. Most of the time we are sleepwalking. The yogis, they all say you're just sleepwalkers. You do things by habit. You don't know when you make a choice, you're not really making it, you're just listening to somebody else, or you're doing it because of you did the same thing last year, or somebody told you, or something. You do a lot of things just without understanding why you're really doing it. Okay. So that's why the yogis say you're just sleepwalking. And opening up the third eye means to wake up. Okay, so no matter whether it's for your spiritual practice or whether it's for your day-to-day life, it's better to be awake. Right? You'll be able to do things better, take care of your own life. Right? So that's why it's important to open up this chakra. It will be very helpful for you when you have to make certain decisions in your life, because you cannot choose which one should I do. You know, my boyfriend says that this is the best thing to do. My best girlfriend says that the other thing is the best thing to do. Which way? What to do? How do I choose? Okay. The third eye, when it's open, it connects you to your higher intuition. and your intuition can guide you. Now, there are two different things. Your higher mind, your intuition, what we call buddhi. In yoga, we call the higher mind buddhi. That's how the Buddha got the name of Buddha, is because he was in the buddhi, and then he went beyond that. Okay. Normally, we are functioning in a lower mind level called manas, which works on the five senses. It's what we call the emotional mind, because this mind is thinking, but it's controlled by your ego, your emotion, and it's always making mistakes. Right? So the yogis say you have a higher mind which is able to guide you better. And that is called the buddhi. If you open up your third eye, you access this buddhi. Right? So, but there are two things. First, you have to connect with the buddhi. The second thing is that you have to listen to the buddhi. All right? So there are two different things. Even if you connect with your buddhi and the buddhi is telling you this is the good thing to do, this is the correct thing to do, but your heart will say, no, I want to do something different. I want to be naughty. Right? I'll enjoy this better. Gives me more enjoyment. The advice from the buddhi is not fun. Maybe. So there are two things that are needed. One is to connect with the buddhi. The second is to follow the way of your higher mind. And opening up the third eye can help you do both things. First, we have to understand that in our daily life,
sorry to interrupt.
yeah.
Does the third eye always correct in advising? The third eye give you advice. Is it always correct? Is it always the correct path to follow?
Correct depends on what is your ultimate purpose. The buddhi, your higher mind, your higher intuition is connected with your higher self, your true self. So all the advice given by the buddhi is to help you walk the path towards your true self. Okay? The higher mind may not give you the advice on how to be wealthy. Now, it may be that you follow the higher mind and you still get wealthy, but it will be a byproduct. The higher mind is not here to help you become wealthy. Okay, if you want to be wealthy, then that advice may not be the right one. So it's correct, but it's correct in the sense that if you follow the higher mind, it will help you go out of the cycle of life and death. It will help you not to have to come back for another birth and come back and suffer, because that is what the Lord Buddha and all the great yogis, they all identified that the way we live life is full of suffering. Okay, because we are looking for certain things, desires. You know, we want to have a better house, a better car, a lovely wife, or a handsome husband, you know, a better job. We're looking for things. And things don't last. Nothing lasts. Everything is impermanent. Right? So your happiness just is like this. You're happy for a moment, then you'll get worried that you will lose whatever you have got, right? So happiness, if it is connected with things or with the material world, even with the spiritual world, if your happiness says, okay, if I can get to the second stage of samadhi, I'll be happy. When you get to the second stage, you decide, I want to get to the third stage. Right? So you're never happy. Right? So the higher mind is telling us that no matter what is happening external to you, your inner world, your basic reality is happiness. Your happiness does not depend on what happens to you, because you can never control what happens to you. Right? You have no control. You know, people think I have some control, but you really have no control over what happens to you. You know, who becomes the President of the United States? Can you have control? I can't have control. I didn't even vote for him. Okay, so external things, we just have to accept and move on. If you want something outside yourself before you become happy, you'll never be happy. Be happy now. Okay, the key to be happy now is I don't need anything to be happy. I am happy. But I'm not saying that's easy, but opening your third eye will help you to understand these things. Okay? Because our life is controlled, or I would say it's on a roller coaster because of our imaginings, our fantasies, not reality. So our minds are subject, our normal mind, subject to three flaws. The first one is called illusion. Illusion is when you see something and you think it's something else, but it is not really there. Such as at a nighttime, you know, the yogis, they always have this story about, you know, they're going in the dark and there is a piece of rope, but they see it, they think it's a snake and they get scared, right? You mistake the rope for a snake. But when you get close enough, if you're brave enough, you see it's just a rope, right? So it's an illusion. More easy for you to understand is you've all, maybe some of you have heard or you've seen it, where in a desert you see a piece of water. It's a mirage, right? That's an illusion. It's not there. By the time you get there, there's nothing there. So there are many things in this life, in your life, which you think, but it's a misconception of our five senses. We see something and we think it's that, but it isn't. All right. So we make the mistake of perception. Okay, because we are five senses, where you hear something, smell something, or taste something, they are always, all these five senses are subject to error. Depends on how you smell it. That's why, you know, if you have a glass of wine, I know you never drink wine, okay. But if you had a glass of wine, you know, the wine connoisseur says, oh yes, yes, I smell this, 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 and that. And then, oh, there's tobacco, there's chocolate, there's this and that. And then when you taste it, you may not be able to, right? Now, it's not because they're wrong. They are trained, right? You haven't got the training. And you may not have the same capability. Some people are born with better smell. Some people are born with better hearing, right? And so, some people are born with their hearing. They cannot hear, high-pitched sound or lower-pitched sound. They have got the middle of the road type thing. So when somebody says, do you hear that background violin in that concerto? I can't hear it, right? So these are all limitations of our senses. And illusions are because our senses, we see something, but then it has to go to our mind. And our mind, in the dark, see a snake. It's what our mind is afraid of. Instead of saying that's, And our mind sees the oasis, the water, it's because we desire the water. And you interpret it as water. So that is illusion. Another flaw in our mind is delusion. Delusion, is much worse of a flaw than illusion. Illusion can always be corrected. Because once you get close, you see, it's not water, or it's not a snake, it's really this, I can see it now. I hold it, touch it. Illusions can be dispelled. But if you run away, you'll never know. Right? If you see the rope as a snake and you run away, you'll never know, was it a snake or was it a rope? Right? So you have to face the illusion in order to overcome it. Now, delusions are totally different. They are psychological and emotional belief. It's a belief. A delusion is a belief. Okay? There are people who believe they're smart when they're not. Lots of people. It's a big flaw, psychological flaw. There's a term for it. Okay? In fact, the smart people are the ones who never think they're smart because they know they don't know so much. It's the not so smart people who think they are smart and they know something when they really don't. They're the first one to answer a question when everybody will like, oh my God, what did he say? Right? But they think they're right. I mean, we actually have friends who think the earth is still flat. Now, I kid you not, there's many people who think that. Even in the Hamsa family, flat earthers. Okay? These are delusions. Sometimes a person will think they're very talented in something, that they think they're a great musician, but they're not. And they won't take, if somebody says, you need to practice more, or, they have this delusion that they should be successful, or they're going to be a big musician, or they're a big artist, or they're whatever it is. All right? Those are beliefs which have no foundation. Okay? So, a lot of people suffer from delusions and they're not aware of it. Okay? So opening the third eye will help to mitigate these erroneous beliefs, because it will let you see it less emotionally. Because why is the belief held so tightly? It's because you have invested your emotion into it. And you won't listen to all the facts that fact check, it's all wrong. Fact checking doesn't affect people's delusions. Okay. Plenty of delusions in the United States. I'm sure in Singapore also, but everywhere in the world, right? But yeah, plenty of delusions. People think things which are not true. And then the third flaw of the mind is confusion. Now, confusion is very straightforward. Confusion just means an error in your thinking. It's your thought process. Okay, you cannot think through something and you get confused. You get 2, 3, 4 different data and you cannot distinguish between which data is correct or incorrect. Right? So that creates a doubt, and that's confusion. People, some people say, yeah, this set of data is correct. But then I can find in the internet another set of data and another set of data and another set of data. They all conflict. Which one is true? And then people they go into a state of angst. They get depressed even. Some people get depressed because they're too confused. Their mind cannot think through what is the correct set of data, what is true. Right? So that is a confusion. But that is also a way you can train your mind to think things through. You can deeper. Where's the source of this data? I mean, that's how, research papers, you have to go through to see what is the methodology. Okay, were there any flaws in the data collection? And, you have to look at all the assumptions behind the model that they're using. Are there any flaws in those assumptions and things like that, right? And did they use, control group or some sort of way of, like a placebo? Instead of like just seeing if it works or not, you have to check out the other way, right? So you have to go through, but that takes effort. And most people are too lazy to go through all of that. Right? So they just stay with their confusion. I'm confused. But you're making no effort to solve your confusion. Higher mind can help you see through a lot of these things very quickly. See, the higher mind, the Buddhi, when you open your third eye, that it's called the eye of Shiva because it cuts through all the BS, cuts through all the false things which are not true. Okay, and it tells you what is important. From a perspective, it goes back to what he's saying. There is no such thing as correct. Okay, from that perspective, it is only correct for that particular set of proposition or a path. If your goal in life is to enjoy food and drink, then it's different from another person whose goal in life is to acquire wealth. Another person's goal in life is to serve humanity, wants to help other people. Other people's goal in life is to reach your true self, my highest potential, so that I no longer have illusion, delusion, or confusion. Okay, so most of us normal people live with these things. They just don't think about it. It's not important because they think it doesn't affect their day-to-day life. It doesn't affect them taking care of their husband or wife or their children or their work, as long as they function in a particular way. It's like what in psychology, you adapt. right? You adapt to your confusion, illusion, and delusion, and you have adapted. Okay? So we are all adapting instead of trying to solve or overcome the problems. Okay? So first of all, you have to figure out what do you want in this life. Okay? The third eye center can also help you live a spiritual life in a material world. What does it mean? I even wrote a book called Living a Spiritual Life in the Material World. I don't know if it's here or not. Yeah, it's over there. You have to examine your life in set your priorities, right? You have your work you have to take care of, because in our tradition, my master is a householder also. He has a wife and he has, 2 sons and grandsons and granddaughters. Okay? So he's not a monk or a renunciate. So what we teach is for people in the world, not people who want to get out of the world. That's why I wrote the book, How to Live a Spiritual Life in the Material World. Right? So you have to examine, but you still have to do it. You have to take some effort. You have to examine whether your work is beneficial for you. You have to look, or are you just suffering through your work? Maybe you should look for a different work. How about your friends? Which one of your friends are contributing to your well-being, and which friends suck your energy away? We are too sometimes scared to identify those, because we don't want to lose any friends. It's a very human thing. Once you made a friend, you don't want to lose a friend. Losing a friend is a big deal, right? So, but maybe it's not a real friend if they're sucking away your energy or they're making you negative, right? So they can poison your mind. So that's not a true friend. Right? Are you a true friend? Now let's not look at other people. What about you? Are you being a good friend to others? So these are things you have to look at. You have to examine, okay, what am I doing? I mean, I'm reading this book, and does it provide me with any value? When I watch a movie, what does it give me? See, I never watch horror movies. It's not that look, your mind is very elastic. Your mind gets filled up with whatever you put in. Why would you want to put in horror images in your mind? You wouldn't want a nightmare, but we get the thrill. I watched horror movies a lot when I was younger, and then I figured out, why would I watch a horror movie and get scared? And then have all these images in my mind, especially when you meditate. What happens? Your mind throws out all images that you have stored in there. It's like when you dream, your dream works with the images, the visions you've had during the day or in the past and stuff, your memories. Why would I want to keep negative memories and feed more negative memories in there? Deliberately go and get more negative memories. Why would you do that? But we do it. Otherwise, the horror movies won't be so, make so much money, and they won't keep making it, right? So, but you have to figure out, do you really want to do that anymore? I'm not against the horror movie industry. It's just an example. All right, there's an extreme example. There are all sorts of things which are using up your time. You're feeding your mind. It's like you're eating food and you're eating junk food all the time. People are saying, oh, have a good diet, eat the healthy food and all that. But how about the mind? What is the food you're feeding to your mind? You never think about, you think the mind can just wash everything away? Okay. Can you put your mind to the laundry? Yes, you can, but that's what in many spiritual traditions they call purification. There are techniques to purify the body and to purify the mind. Why? In the yogic and the Buddhic tradition, before you can really meditate, you have to purify your mind. You have to control your mind. Why? Because even in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, he said, your mind can be your best friend or it can be your worst enemy. It's always with you. If you control it, it's your best friend. It's like a horse, a wild horse. You put yourself on a wild horse, it runs away, you break your neck. Right? It'll throw you off. But if you have tamed the horse, then it can get you from point A to point B. So, a great yogi, Swami Vivekananda, he said that the mind is like a drunken monkey stung by the poison of a bee. So a monkey is already a monkey mind, you understand, right? When a monkey is drunk on alcohol, it's worse. Then when it's in pain, how can you control it? You cannot control that monkey. Right? So it takes a lot of work. That's what these yogis are saying. So the third eye will help you overcome the illusion, delusion, and confusion. Right? It will also help you overcome your fears. There are many other things, but I'm just going to talk about these three flaws of the mind and fears. Because fears are very fundamental to our personality. What is a personality? It's what we have taken on in this lifetime, what we show other people. Okay. So what are these fears? Can you think of fears? We're all fearful of death. If somebody says they're not afraid of death, I'm not too sure I will believe that. When time comes, everybody shakes. Even those who say, yes, death is a release. I'm suffering right now, I have pain and I have some, but still they want to hang on in the hospital. They still don't want them to pull the plug, right? So we have this fear of death. Why? Because we don't know what's going to happen after death. Even though all the great yogis say, and the masters, and this says that death is just a new beginning. You get reborn, but you don't know for sure. How do you know? Who's come back from death and told you? You don't remember any of it. So there's always that fear. So that's a very important fear. But there are even fears which are not so much. We are fearful even of losing our reputation in our peer group. You don't want people to think badly of you. We are afraid to show our true feelings. We hide behind our personality because we're fearful of exposing what we really. So we're just pretending. Right? That's our personality, is just a pretense. Right? It's not really you. You really feel you don't want to do this, but you say, oh yeah, I like it, I want to do this and all that stuff. Right? So, because you don't want your group of friends to think lower of you or leave you. So that's a fear. I mean, we have a fear of those in authority. You're afraid of your boss. If your boss gets angry with you, it could fire you. So you lose your job. That's a fear. We're fearful of disease. I mean, remember how fearful we were during COVID. And now there are many people who said, what's that? They don't even remember there's such a thing. And I say, you don't remember for 3 years we had this thing called COVID? I think there was something bad happening. I don't remember what it was. I think the government made it all up. Yeah, it's all a conspiracy. Never happened. They just were trying to make us afraid or something. So, but we genuinely are afraid of getting sick, right? What other fears do people have? Can you think of something? Yeah. Losing our friends, a fear of pain. Right? It's a very fearful of losing our loved ones. Right? So we have all these fears, fear of the unknown. Because we don't know what's going to happen. Fear of the future. What's going to happen tomorrow, day after. So we have all these fears. How can you overcome each fear? There's so many different ways you can get afraid. Right? So if you tap into your higher mind, you're able to, in the Buddhi, you're able to be aware. And as you become aware, you become less fearful. You tap into a higher state of reality. Okay, so an advantage, a purpose of practicing this third eye opening is to overcome your fears also. Okay, because there's no fear. You can just imagine how powerful the eye of Shiva Netra is, right? So the third eye can overcome all negativity and fears. We're afraid of black magic. How many of you here, in Malaysia, they're always afraid of black magic? Did you people in Singapore afraid of black magic? You are from Malaysia, so you can't say that. I know in Malaysia, there's always these black magic things going on, yeah. How about in Singapore, any of that? Not so much?
But does it really work, black magic? Yeah, it does.
Ah.
I'm sure it does.
Well, if white magic can work, then black magic can also work. But it depends. Most people are just pretending. Okay, but there's definitely powerful negative entities that can do black magic. But I don't know if you can get them to do anything, pay them, 100 ringgits and do something bad or something. I doubt that will work. Yeah. But, that... Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Huh?
Does it really affect somebody if I do a black magic on her? I mean, can it really, affect somebody's mind?
Oh, yes.
To how much?
No, depends. I mean, these things are very unusual nowadays. They were more frequent in the past. Nowadays, it would take a much higher level of black magic to affect someone. In the past, they can affect, a couple of 100 years ago or even longer. A lot of it is self-suggestion, hypnotism, it's just mental tricks. right? So nowadays, those things don't work so much anymore. So it really needs to invoke a negative entity, just as we invoke Om Ring Rang Raksha Raksha Go Raksha to protect us. There are ways to invoke these negative entities to do some damage, but then there's karmic retribution, right? You don't. There's no free lunch. Right? So those people who do this, they have very short life, or they can have very negative issues, health issues and stuff like that. So, yeah.
What if a person who is very faith in God is very strong? Can that person also be affected by others who are doing black magic?
Oh, sure, because if they believe in God, then they will believe in the devil also. Right? And so the people who have a great belief in God, they can be affected if somebody convinces them that they're being haunted by a devil, or so it can mentally affect them. I mean, so that's why any belief can be perverted, right? Because a belief is still not a experience. That's why in yoga we don't care about belief, because we want to have the experience. If you've had experience of God, nobody can touch you. But the belief in God is not sufficient. You have to have experienced it. Right? So once you've experienced it, then you're vaccinated, inoculated against the. But if your belief is another, it's a delusion in a sense. Even if it's a good belief, it's still a delusion because you have no facts to back it up. You haven't seen God, right? But you believe it because other people say it, or the books say it, but it's not based on your own experience. Right? So that belief is sometimes not strong enough, can be broken. Okay. So that's why we want to have our own experience. Like in Kriya Yoga, we practice, why are we practicing Kriya Yoga? Is to experience our true self, which is an aspect of God. Okay, so if we have experience of that, then it doesn't matter what other people are trying to do or do something. You can't change my experience. Right? If I have experienced, I've drank orange juice, and I know what orange juice is like, and if you tell me that orange juice is blue in color and tastes sweet or bitter or some other thing, it's not what my experience is. And I'm not going to change my experience. So that's a different. If somebody tells you orange juice is orange in color and is citric, but you don't know what is citric, but it's like acidic, it has a particular taste, and you give a description of it, it's just your belief, you've never had it. Okay, so if somebody else comes and says, no, that's a wrong description of orange juice, you are not sure. You say, no, my authority is very good. It's a Bible. It's the Bible of orange juice. So I trust it. Okay, but over time, if they keep repeating something else, your belief is going to be affected until you actually drank the orange juice. Once you've drank the orange juice, you say, get out of... No, you got BS there. That's not correct. All right? So it's your own experience that matters. So if you have experience, then you won't be affected. Does that make sense?
Next question, how do you experience God as quickly as possible?
Is what?
How do you experience God as quickly as possible?
Do Kriya Yoga.
But does the experience of God,
Huh?
does the experience of God varies from individual to another individual?
Of course.
So then again, it depends on what it actually molds my belief. Like this is what I experience God. Doesn't that mold my belief system? I experience A.
No, your belief will affect how you experience God. Okay? But as you experience God more and more, or your true self more and more, all those beliefs will go away. It's just your initial. So that's why when people first has that experience, spiritual experience, they are so sure they are the correct one and other people are wrong because it's been affected by their own belief system, their culture, their religion and all that stuff. Okay? But as they go higher and higher into their experience, they will realize that, it's much different from what they thought initially. And there's a lot of commonality between their experience and other people's experience. I mean, if you're here, let's say there's a 20,000 foot mountain and you've reached 10,000 on this side, the other person has reached 10,000 on that side, both of you have reached a certain level, but you see differently. But if both of you got to 20,000, it's all the same. Okay, so your belief is no longer relevant when you reach the higher states. But in the beginning, it's going to affect how you experience something. It's even like your experience is going to be limited or determined by the language you use. If you speak a particular language, your experience you have to filter that experience with your mind in language that you know. Okay, so a person who knows Sanskrit will describe things differently from a person that is using English. Because there are many words in English, what used to be, that does not conform to the same kind of experience. That's why there's a lot of Indian words have come into the English language. Right? So your mind also limits the experience. Until you go to the higher level, then your mind no longer operates. But when you come back down, like if you want to explain to Jolene what you experience, how are you going to explain? What language you're going to use? I mean, you're not just going to, you're not yet in the level where you can touch Jolene and say, here's my experience. See, that's something a great master like Sri Yukteswar can do. He doesn't use the words to describe it. He just touched Yogananda and Yogananda got the experience beyond words. Right? Does that make sense?
So does karma influence, affects your experience of God?
The what?
Your karma. Let's say my karma experience the level of my experience of God.
Of course. I mean, first of all, to be able to experience God, you have to get rid of a lot of your karma first, obviously. But how you do that, that's also determined by your past karma. I mean, like, why would you want to practice Kriya Yoga? Right? Why not some other yoga? That is some karmic tendency there. If you really want to do Kriya Yoga, there must be some past life or some reason maybe a connection with Babaji or a connection with some of the great masters and things like that. Otherwise, you should be doing Vipassana, or you can be doing some other technique, the Tibetan Buddhism or other techniques. So why are you doing Kriya Yoga? So that is also based on your karma, your culture, where you live and things like that. Right? So there's no opportunity to learn something. There's no opportunity. Right? But there's always a way. So whatever the way is available where you are, that's the way. That's the karma, but it's still a way to get there. It may not be the fastest way, but it's the way for you at this juncture in life, right? Anything else? Any questions? Any questions about why we are opening up the third eye? Just want you to understand that the third eye is not just for achieving spiritual heights. It's very practical to overcome your life problems. Okay? As far as spirituality is concerned, opening the third eye center invokes an energy of the, how would I call it, the yang energy. You could think of that as the Shiva principle. Okay? And this energy will help pull the yin or the female principle at the base of the spine up. And that is what we call awakening the Kundalini. So the stronger your third eye, the easier it will be for you to do your Kriya and raise the Kundalini up. So I'll talk about that more tomorrow. But in essence, opening the third eye is very helpful for attaining self-realization also. Okay, it's also, but before you attain self-realization, it's very helpful for you to live a meaningful life. Right, so tomorrow I'll talk more about the spiritual aspects of it. Om Namah Shivaya Shiva Soham Hamsaya Shri Guru Lingaya Namah Shivaya Om. So we'll take a 5-minute break and then we'll get into the techniques or any questions you have.